I'm tatocat. Welcome to my channel. Today we are playing Lucid9. Last time we got in a fight with our precious Masato and Yama lost his temper. Masato lost his temper and then we fell into a river and we learned about our past a little bit. We were kind of annoying as a child. And then we kind of woke up here. Alright, let's continue. I suddenly emerge into reality. Vision hazy, lungs burning. I feel myself cough instinctively. Water spurts from my mouth to the ground. That's right. I've never been a fan of this river. You. A firm hand slaps against my back. I spew another mouthful of brine. I can't believe I'm doing this. Why am I doing this? The vague shapes before my eyes finally consolidate into clear outlines. I'm lying by the side of the canal, clothes plastered to my skin, every inch of my body pulsing with dull pain. A fellow student is kneeling beside me. Judging from his drenched clothes, the mop of brown hair, I deduce that he's the guy who was drowning earlier. He looks vaguely familiar. Should have expected something like this. Of all people, it had to be you. My weak mind scrambles to find a link. You're Shoji. I didn't know I made such a forgettable impression. His impression was anything but forgettable. What throws me off is his face. His eyes, once clear, are dull and haggard with exhaustion. His skin is pallid and unsightly. His hair is ragged, as if it has been combed in days. He practically looks like a ghost. I clear my throat, trying to work past this sudden awkwardness. Right, Shoji. Yeah, Akane's ex-boyfriend. We'll probably get over her in a week or two. I feel a compulsion to apologize, but I can't bring myself to do it. Instead, I pick up my jacket, staring at the ground. Why did you save me? I didn't. I saw you dive in. Actually, he brings up a good point. If I almost drowned, then who got Shoji out? Who got me out? I suppose I should thank you. Don't. It wasn't me. Good. Saves me the trouble of finding some awkward excuse. I feel the edge of his words as he turns away. I instinctively call after him. While we're in the river. He pauses. An unreadable grimace crosses his lips. You're the genius. Figure it out. He disappears into the street, leaving nothing but a scattered trail of water behind him. I stare into the sky for a long moment, huddled against the slight warmth of my dry jacket. Who saved us? Why? I fist my hands in the hem of my jacket, collapsing back to the ground. Useless again. Couldn't even swim in a pathetic little canal. Not only would I have failed to save Shoji, but I would have just drowned myself. I should be over it. I should be fine by now. 10 years. I lace my fingers to the sparse blades of grass by my head. They dig into my skin. Too many names. Shoji, Yahiko, Masato, Mizu. Can't do anything about them. You're the genius, figure it out. I sit up abruptly, a sudden possibility crossing my mind. Could Shoji have been the next target? Maybe the murderer was trying to drown him. Maybe he knew something about the murderer. But why wouldn't he tell anyone? I sink to the ground, back to square one. I don't know why Shoji was in the river. I don't know why Masato's suddenly upset. I don't even know who saved us from drowning. I rarely hoist myself to my feet and shove my shoes over my soggy socks. The journey back to my apartment is only filled with more questions. The moment I'm back, I take a quick shower, still feeling grimy from the river water. As I soak my uniform in a tub of detergent, my phone suddenly pings in my pocket. I wipe off my hands before I steal a glance. Ruby. Going home tonight. Parents signed exemption from curfew. You don't need me for anything, right? Going home? All of a sudden? Well, I guess that her house is only an hour away by the subway. But by the time she gets back, it'll already be 8:30. I'm fine. Everything okay? I wait, but don't receive another message. Well, sue herself. At least I asked. I hang my uniform over the shower and head to the living room, plopping down on the sofa. It's been such a long day. It's definitely nice to catch my breath for a second. I switch on the television, but only after a few minutes of mindlessly watching some random talk show, I begin to drift off. It's only now that my body is stationary do I realize how heavily the gravity weighs on my bones. For some odd reason, I think of Newton's first law of motion. How did it go again? I never really paid much attention to physics. An object in motion stays in motion, and an object at rest stays at rest. That sounds appealing, doesn't it? Being able to stay at rest and not have to worry about staying in motion. I wake in a daze, staring emptily at the ceiling. My jaw is pounding in pain, and my lungs are still burning. Seems like drowning isn't great for your health. Who would have thought? I briefly check the time. Still early. Way early. And it looks like I've gotten yet another email. Well, perhaps you do have a chance that you're not looking for because it frightens you. Do what you think is right, Mr. Troll. Even if there are those who mock you or do not understand you, best of luck. It's so accurate that I can only stare at it in disbelief. A single ridiculous thought comes to my mind. It's as if I'm speaking to myself. But that's just crazy, right? It can't be. I was there when the first replies came. They came quickly. They came consecutively. I didn't lapse. I didn't skip. But there are ways to schedule emails. What if I knew how I would respond? No. This is stupid and ridiculous, and I just need to stop thinking. I hope you're right. None of my friends really get what's going on. I can't tell them either. What do you think the right choice is? There. The test. If the recipient knows what I'm thinking about. I'm so paranoid. I stumble out of bed and change into my uniform, and then dig through the fridge for some breakfast. Porridge, fruit, eggs. Yeah. It's Akira. Akira? Why would Akira be calling me? Hello? Yama? Thank heavens. The relief in her voice is palpable. Is everything okay? Have you seen Rui? Please tell me you've seen Rui. She left the dorms and she hasn't come back in. Wait, slow down. She went home for the night, remember? Home? She sounds genuinely bewildered. Didn't she tell you? Silence on the other end. When Akira speaks again, her voice is shaking. Oh, yeah. Home. Pardon me, Colonel. It slipped my mind like an eel on a peel. Did Rui not tell Akira? But how could Akira not know they're roommates? More than that, they're best friends. Unless they got into a fight. Then it would all make sense why Rui went home all of a sudden, even if she could only stay for a few hours. Why Akira wouldn't know her whereabouts. I could bring it up. It seems to be bothering her. Well, we're going to ask. Our options are ask or don't ask. We'll ask, because if we don't ask, it's like ignoring her, and we're not going to ignore her, so we will ask. This sounds like it could be urgent. Did something happen between you and Rui? I really can't hide anything from you, can I, Colonel? I should feel accomplished, but the pain in her voice robs me of any sense of triumph. If you don't want to talk about it. No, actually, well, She trails off awkwardly. I decide to help her along. Want me to come to school? Could you? Well, I am physically capable of walking. Oh, Poot Girl, you know what I mean. I'll meet you in the cafeteria in 15. Oh, okay. Thanks, Yama. She quickly hangs up, leaving me to wolf down my breakfast. I jog to school, just as the sun begins to creep into the sky, washing the chilly night air with a hint of warmth. Akira is waiting by the front gate, eyes fixed on her shoes. Once again, I'm stricken by how empty the entrance is. Oh, Colonel. Morning. Morning. I noticed her unusual reaction, but decide to let it go. Cafeteria? Yeah. She leads the way to the school dining hall, her footsteps heavy against the brick pathway beneath our feet. The large, extravagant room is also remarkably empty. Only a few early stragglers are scattered around the corners, scrolling idly through their phones or bobbing their heads to music. Oh, we got a CG. Akira leads me to a table near the wall, settling in a cushioned chair with her arms resting slightly on her knees. Can I ask you something, Colonel? What? Why did you come? Why did I come? What kind of question is that? You seemed awfully torn up about something. And that's why you came? I guess. But what about Rui? Huh? You're worried about her, right? She is, after all, your one true love. I can only snort. She's my friend, if that's what you mean. And you honestly don't feel anything for her? Not romantically. Weren't we supposed to be talking about her and Rui, not me and Rui? What is it? We fought. The words are so plain and direct that it takes me a moment to process. After the impromptu drama performance, she was really upset. From the performance? That would have been nice, but no. I tell you why, Colonel, but then I'd have to kill you. She rapidly switches between saying something deathly serious and saying something flippant. I'm not sure how to react to her words. Right. And war has to be had. We turned against one another, brother against brother, mother against mother. The words were harsh, the strikes were unclean, and neither claimed victory. Her wild imagination seems to be getting the better of her. From what I can tell, she and Rui just had a terrible argument. So, what happened? Her forces fled and did not return. For 5 hours and half an hour, we lay in wait, readying our weapons for the moment when they would once again lay siege to our fortress. But that time never came. You waited 5.5 hours for her to come back. Poot, you're so unimaginative, Colonel. On the contrary, I'm pretty sure that Akira has a little too much imagination. It borderlines on delusion. I won't judge though, not today. If anything, her scenarios seem to be a coping mechanism. Why didn't she tell you she was going home? Was the argument that terrible? It lasted for 70 years and resulted in billions of casualties. So it must have been incredibly intense. Interesting. I never witnessed Akira and Rui in a fight. With their similar personalities, I would have thought they would try to solve things peacefully. Still, you were worried about her. You're a good friend. No, I'm a terrible friend. I'm just like a politician. I'm too scared to do anything directly, so I became a liar to get what I want. This harsh self-criticism is enough to unsettle me. Perhaps it's simply my inner nature to be contradictory and a devil's advocate, but I want to counter everything she has to say. An actual terrible friend would never say that. So you may say, but this isn't anything new, Colonel. I can't seem to help anyone, not as myself, not as Shadowbelt, not as a dragon. My brain suddenly makes a connection, and finally I understand something. So, that's why you try so hard to be different? Different people change the world, Colonel. Aren't you just lying to yourself? She smiled sadly, on edge of pain to her lips. If I can't help just one person, what does it matter? Then again, it looks like I can't even do that. She abruptly stands, nodding quietly at me. Thanks for the talk, Colonel. Time to get to class. Let me walk you. No, I'll be fine. She strides out of the cafeteria without explanation. I'm frozen for a moment, working to process everything that I've learned. I'd always known that there was more to Akira than just crazy fun-loving thespian, but I never expected to catch the glimpse that I did. Maybe we have more in common than I originally thought. I returned to the classroom in a daze, pondering this new turn of events. Even though I'm only slightly early, the classroom is already at full attendance. I guess that with curfew in effect, there isn't much else to do except come to class on time. You sure? I turned to the door. Yahiko is standing in the entryway, speaking quietly with the stocky boy from yesterday, Haru Bunya. I mean, what if you're right? Then I'll be damn glad that I decided to talk when I did. Maybe you shouldn't try this, not yet. Why do you keep trying to stop me? 3 people, Haru. 3 people who were at the first meeting are gone. First meeting? First meeting of what? That's why I need to talk to her today. But you know the rumors. Shoji talked with her, and he's fine. Be careful, dude. When am I not? Haru nods in farewell and disappears down the hall. Yahiko agitatedly rubs his hair as he takes his seat. I better choose my words carefully. Who was that? Oh, Haru. He's a club member. Club member? Of the best club on earth, of course. The Happy Club, making people happy since 2018. Oh yeah, the Happy Club. I always thought it sounded like the stupidest thing in existence. But something dawns on me. What do you do in the Happy Club? I'd always assumed that it had something to do with alcohol or gambling, but why, we make depressed people happy, of course. I'm taken aback at this sudden display of altruism. Why? Why not? Not because he wants the undying loyalty of his future minions? Not because he wants to have a statue erected in his honor? I want to ask more, but the teacher promptly strides into the classroom, wrapping her pointer against the nearest table. The students quietly assemble. 3 people who were at the first meeting are gone. Could Yahiko have been talking about his club? 3 of the victims attended the Happy Club, but what about the first 2 deaths before the Happy Club was even founded? Could they have a link to Yahiko? Could Yahiko know anything about the murders? Ah, you're looking particularly attentive today, Yama. Would you like to answer this question? I look up at the board. A terrifyingly large picture of a mutilated corpse is plastered in the center, walking me through the gaps in its limbs and crimson bloodbath. My mind runs blank. No. Yama. I squeeze my eyes shut, shaking the image out of my head. A second look shows that the picture is just an artist's interpretation of the Isamu flag. No bodies, no blood, just brown and red. What the hell was that? 5 points detected for lack of participation. Elizabeth? Elizabeth. Yes, ma'am. The flag officially adopted during the Mayor Inori's first mandate represents the ideal that anyone can succeed with hard work regardless of background, status, or upbringing. Thank you. Goodness gracious, I don't know what's going on with everyone today. Well, recently found out a classmate was murdered, and then 2 other kids are missing. Maybe that has something to do with it. Right, well, let's proceed. The flag is a proud symbol that has been acknowledged even by... I pull out of her lecture, disinterested as my classmates secretly pass messages via their hacked desk tablets. I switch my own tablet on, but wince at the bold 10 digits that greet me in reply. Don't say that to me, say that to him. I quickly close the application. My mind is a mess throughout the remainder of class. Thinking about Shoji, thinking about the crimes, it's just too much. Which could not have come sooner. Surprisingly, Akiko turns to me when the bell rings. Hey, wanna grab some lunch with Masato and me? It kind of feels like it's been a while. Now that he mentions it, it really does. I will still remember the last time the four of us had lunch together, assuming Rui joins us. I want to, I really do. But I don't know if I can talk to Masato after yesterday's exchange. I think I'll pass for today. You sure? Yeah. Thanks for the invite, though. Okay. It's just, dude, I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time. Sorry. Heck, some days I feel like I haven't seen me in a long time. Well, there's always room for more minions if you feel like joining. I'll keep that in mind. He all but skips out of the classroom, whistling between his teeth. A few days ago, I would have considered it completely natural. Now it looks forced to me. I leave to get some lunch, ignoring Misaki's concerned gaze. After grabbing some takeout at the cafeteria, I settle in the courtyard, enjoying the fresh weather the best I can. It's fairly empty. Most students prefer to eat in the cafeteria. The only point of interest is a small group of girls huddled in the back corner examining the wall. Wait a minute. You're a freak. I can't believe they still let you come here. First Akane, now Shoji. You must pay for this. I edge closer, trying to find a clean perspective between the bundle of heads. I catch a glimpse of red hair. Again? Really? Maybe the administration loves you, but we know the truth. We won't stop until we have justice. You should stop showing your dirty little face around here. How were those thumbtacks in your gym shoes? Did they give you an idea of the pain we feel? No, she probably took them and saved them for voodoo dolls. Ugh, you're disgusting. Despite their biting words, Irie doesn't even bat an eye. She stares emptily at them, her hands folded neatly in front of her. Wow, look at her, she doesn't even care. Are you even human? Do you feel nothing for the suffering of others? I bet she enjoys it. It's probably her favorite pastime. What kind of sick parents keep a retard like you? These girls are just awful. Thumbtacks and everything. Cornering the poor girl. I clench my hands as their words escalate to brutality. Irie isn't even lifting a finger to defend herself. No, as unfair as it is, I just turned things into a mess by stepping in. I creep away, wincing as their voices heighten to strident screams. For the rest of their lunch period, I rest on the rooftop, munching at my takeout to a symphony of silence. It doesn't feel like the right decision, but it doesn't feel like the wrong decision either. I wonder if I chose to invite Irie to our little group when we were out and about, if we would have done something at that point. I wouldn't have been able to help her anyway. Afternoon classes are just as dreary as the morning, with one key difference. Yahiko is absent. The teacher seems relieved, if anything, when he catches the empty gap in the seating chart. He chirps about linguistics and the heightened spark in his eyes. Yahiko doesn't return for the rest of the day. I drifted between lessons, trying to bring myself to delete the number on my tablet. I can't do it. After what feels like an eternity, class finally ends. Masato doesn't come, Rui doesn't come, Mihiko doesn't come. I'm still in the silence as my classmates hurry outdoors to savor their precious hours of freedom before the gates are closed. Elizabeth is one of them, marching away with her growing crowd of groupies. Misaki is the only one to drop by my desk. Have you seen Rui today, Yama? Rui? No. If anything, I should be asking about her presence. I haven't seen her in a while. I see. If you see her, please take care of her.
What do you mean?
She only sighs vaguely, a furrow on her brow. Please. Then without another word, she turns and strides off, flicking her phone between her hands. Take care of Rui? Why? How? More questions, fewer answers. This is getting ridiculous. I restlessly swing my backpack over my shoulders and head out of the classroom. If I'm not getting answers, I'll just have to find them myself. My first instinct is to look for my friends from a high vantage point. Shortly after arriving, I quickly realized that it's a terrible instinct. Even if I have perfect eyesight, it's not like I can see through buildings. What made me think I could have found Rui from the rooftop? I'm just about to leave, but I catch a flicker of motion in the corner of my eye. Purple hair. Wavy purple hair. What a bloody prat. Yeah, that's definitely Elizabeth. I round the corner to the back part of the rooftop, the generally more isolated area. Surely enough, my favorite Brit is settled on the edge of the bench, nose shoved deep in the pages of a paperback book. I quickly realized it as the popular dystopian series, The Famine Tourney. Interesting. Didn't think she'd have time to read fiction between those textbooks of hers.
Who's the bloody prat?
She doesn't even glance up, clearly absorbed in the print before her. This President Ash. I can't stand smarmy gits like. She trails off, then slowly looks upward. You. She leaps to her feet, thrusting the book in front of her like a broadsword.
Good day, Lizzie.
Don't tell anyone. She quickly slides her book behind her, looking down.
That was a delayed reaction. I'll take it to my grave, just like you being a barista. Till we need to blackmail you with it, then we will threaten you with it.
Great. I feel so comforted.
You don't trust me? I'm hurt.
Do you blame me? I want to bite back with a teasing remark, but my tongue is stiff in my mouth. Trust, a fickle thing. Elizabeth brows furrow at my change of mood. She slowly closes the book, evaluating me for a long moment. Are you worried about the disappearances? For a second, I'm flabbergasted. It's almost like she read my mind.
What?
The main targets are academy students. It's some cause for concern, isn't it? Oh, right. That wasn't exactly how I'd been thinking about the disappearances, but
doesn't matter. People die anyway.
My. I see you have sky-high expectations of humanity.
What can I say? I'm an optimist.
She smirks slightly at this. It seems to soften the hard lines on her face. It prompts me to speak.
You know, sometimes you're not that unbearable.
Oh yes, I try to answer to your every beck and call.
I can tell from the encouragement you shower on me.
Well, I'm known for my nurturing spirit.
By people on drugs?
She actually giggles, extracting a chuckle from me. Getting along with Elizabeth? What's going on? It probably won't last, but maybe I should see where it goes. No, I tried time and time again, and I come away with nothing but disappointment. I should just accept the fact that I'll never understand her, not the choices she makes, nor the words she says.
Bye, Lizzie.
What? Instead of answering her obvious query of why are you leaving all of a sudden, I merely plaster a smirk.
Have fun reading your vampire romances.
They're not vampire romance, that's stupid. I listen to her a vague wave as I exit the rooftop. She stews silently for a moment, but it doesn't take her long to return to her books. Okay, we'll end here for this episode. We'll find out what happens next time. I am tatocat. If you haven't already, comment, liked, and subscribe. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon.